Well, it's a very good thing because the rate the world economy is going, if we do not industrialize Africa, then we'll be left behind. And the role of the African Development Bank is very crucial in this journey. In industrialization of Africa, I think is something that any leader in the continent will be working towards, because we have a sea of youths looking for jobs and great unemployment. Unless you industrialize, you will not be able to create jobs. Unless you industrialize, you will not be able to catch up with the technological and advancement going on in the rest of the world. So this is a very, very topical issue in which financing via the African Development Bank needs to play a role in trying to put together financial structures that will help the continent to industrialize.
Financing definitely a key factor in the journey towards achieving industrialization of Africa, which is ultimately, according to the AFDB, about moving from just processing, producing raw materials and exporting them raw to actually exporting the maximized and finished products, such that we can maximize the potentialities that such resources have to offer. Now, we cannot talk about this without talking about the roles of DFIs and, of course, the private sector. Now, EcoBank Group is the biggest Pan-African bank, so to speak. That's a fact, actually. So what role will EcoBank be playing as Africa journeys towards industrialization of the continent?
Well, if you look at the vision of EcoBank, a vision by the founders of that institution was to find a way of integrating Africa. And integrating Africa means trying to ensure that we trade amongst ourselves, so that instead of the raw materials and crops leaving our continent and going out, we could do that within the continent and trade within ourselves. Currently, you know that the percentage of intra-Africa trade is so little compared to the rest of the world. And so EcoBank, we are established in 36 countries in Africa currently, and we have finance flowing, without any interference amongst all these 36 countries. And that is why we have digital banking being set up by the bank to ensure that people from any part of the continent could open accounts in any other country, in any other country in the continent. And so the role we have been playing is to ensure that finance flow amongst all the countries, so that traders, entrepreneurs could actually establish what businesses they want to establish in any of the countries we are operating without any interference, and without, it would just be seamless. And that way you are helping to drive industrialization and ensuring that raw materials that may be required for any industry wherever established can be funded wherever you are, and payments can be made through our digital system.
Now, in the drive towards achieving or ensuring that finance flows freely across industries and sector, what would you say constitute some of the key major challenges for private investors in Africa?
Key challenges are infrastructure, because without infrastructure and enabling environment, you find that it's so difficult for the private sector to solely, or entrepreneurs to solely establish all they require to establish an industry. And if in a country you do not have the required infrastructure in terms of transportation of your goods, in terms of movement of people, and it's so difficult to get things done. And that is why we work also with governments. We try to act as advisors to the main governments of the major countries where we operate, trying to guide them and help in raising their bonds or funds to help them invest in the required and appropriate infrastructure that will drive industrialization.
Now let's consider collaboration. among Africa and other continents as part of achieving its industrialization objective, even while we also bring to the table the fact that the AFDB is working in partnership with the Korean government. What partnerships and collaborations do we need to be doing to ensure that Africa is able to achieve industrialization?
First of all, you find that for anyone or you can have partnership with Koreans or whoever, but for them to come and even invest wherever you are or in your continent, the risk management is the key thing they want to look at. What risk am I going to run, invest in the country? And you can only douse the fears of these foreign investors who want to industrialize by ensuring that your own people invest. If they see that you are even afraid to invest in your own continent, no foreigner will definitely come in. And so you need to, the governments themselves need to eliminate those risks. That is creating that enabling environment. And then you then find that entrepreneurs can then take the risk of investing in or industrializing their own countries. And in the areas where they therefore need like technology and other things, they can then go into partnership with foreign countries or foreign entrepreneurs or investors who will now work with them, because in that way the foreigner sees that he's spreading out his risk, he's not taking it all alone. And that way you now find a lot of industrialization of our continent taking place. But it has to be a collaboration between the government, the private sector in each of our countries, and the established entrepreneurs first, before the foreigners can come in.